Poetry Center, bringing poetry to Paterson since 1980 at Passaic County Community College.
I'm going to introduce one of our finalists in a second. I want to first talk about Lips. I started working with Laura on Lips in issue 2425, and we've kept it going ever since. And June 10th of this year at the Clifton Public Library, Saturday, 2 p.m., is the launch, the celebration reading of the next Lips. We're up to issue 5758. So we're going to keep going. Thanks to Barry, the foundation, and to poets like you. Thank you so much for your contributions to the magazine. Everything is through Submittable, so get your poems in there, and if you want to contact me about it, you can reach me through there as well on the Laura Boss website. So. Introducing Svea Barrett. Svea is a retired teacher. Her poems have appeared in the Paterson Literary Review, Lips, the Edison Literary Review, Griffle, the Rat's Ass Review, the New Jersey English Journal, and others. Her chapbook, Why I Collect Moose, won the 2005 Poets Corner Press Chapbook Contest, and her book, I Tell Random People About You, won the 2010 Spire Press Poetry Award. She tied for first place in the 2013 Allen Ginsberg Poetry Contest, and her finalist manuscript is Before There Was So Much Sky. Please welcome Svea Barrett.
Yes, unfortunately, both of my books are out of print now, so long time ago. The best thing about this for me is that I know so many of you because of Laura, and seeing all of these people makes me remember Laura, and I miss her so much. And Edwin, I read your poems to my kids for years. I taught for 35 years, and they loved your work, and so do I. This first poem has a ridiculously long title. After my son texts me from college in Connecticut to tell me about the Newtown shooting, I think about the shooter's mom. Did his mother also cry when he graduated from high school? They say he drove there in his mother's car. My two older sons, when they're home, drive my car too. Did his mother used to take him to soccer games, answer endless questions, hold her hand in front of his infant face at night to be sure he was breathing? Did she worry when he didn't finish his bottle? Maybe she was a better baby mom than I and breastfed him and his brother. His parents were divorced as well. Did they separate when he was 12? Did he ask her why she was doing this to him? Did she make him go to soccer even when he was afraid, said he didn't know anyone? Did she make him go even though he was crying, trying to teach him not to quit? Did she tell him to care about others, to listen to his coaches, teachers, to be respectful? His mother, she was a teacher too. Did she also cry every morning when she had to drop him off at daycare, driving to work at her school through a smear of tears? Taking deep breaths in the car, blowing her nose and checking her makeup in the car window before crossing the parking lot to the brick building, smiling hello to other teachers, unlocking her classroom door, inviting all the other mothers and fathers, daughters and sons to come inside. This next one is focused on my mother, who died of cancer in 2016, which was a bad year in more than one way. Her house. Semi-sheer clouds whisper across pale blue sky outside the windows, clouds like the curtains in my mother's house, like all of her curtains in every room. She loved her privacy, but couldn't bear dark, cave-like spaces, so she dressed her windows in replicas of old lace, the off-white ghosts of her own mother, her sister, or baby powder white cotton for the ghost of her grandson, my first baby boy. Her curtains flicker across my arms like smoke when I visit my dad in summer and make up my bed, the one where she used to sleep. Her curtains reach for me, at first in vain, from across the room, white flags flying in icy air flung from the ancient AC unit she hated that she needed. I move to stand in the cold breeze, and her curtains fall and melt around me like snow, like the cold milk and white sugar she put on her cereal, white like mashed potatoes before the butter, perfect boiled eggs before they're bitten, like leftover pie crust edges before she sugared, cinnamoned, baked them. Curtains white like the chalk dust on her clothes in her teaching days, like our beagle's chin, chickadee's chests, her mother's favorite bird. White like cloth diapers she bleached when we were babies, like the formula in the bottles she said it was okay for me to use for my living twin boy when everything else was too hard. Everywhere in her house still, her curtains smooth and creamy, like the domes of her pearl earrings, pour down the window frames, pool on the sills like the cool moon's light on all the clean, dry bones. Thank you. My cousin thinks I called her a bitch on Facebook. My cousin thinks I called her a bitch on Facebook because that's what it said, and I left it there, la la la, unaware, for days. I have no idea what I was actually trying to type when autocorrect made that word for me. Last month, I texted my husband to pick up some Thunder Gulag wheat thins from ShopRite. And just this morning, I wrote his ass pot birthday on a friend's balloon festooned online card. Once a man I dated sent me a sexy email and I accidentally deleted it. When I asked if he could resend, it was over. I never heard from him again, which was probably just as well. My husband misheard most of the songs he thought he loved as a kid, like Hit Me With Your Pet Shark by Pat Benatar. And he now says he prefers the way he thought they were. My ex finally and elaborately said he loved me during our first terrible fight on a road trip to North Carolina. What I heard? Okay, I'll say this to you now, if you'll just shut up. Now, our house growing up, where my father still lives, was always my mom's house and grandma's house for my kids. And when she died, it was kind of hard for them to get used to calling it grandpa's house and dad's house. I woke in my father's house, northern New York, late January. In my dream, Leonardo DiCaprio turned into a rat after falling into a storm drain near where I slept. Leo the rat crawled out and said, "I think my body's gone." I told him, "No, you're just a rat now." I looked around for a blanket, but my arm was frozen, immobile. Outside, it was actually minus 17 degrees, and Dad's house is more than 150 years old, so the weather crept into every crevice, and my right arm had fallen out of the covers. The old furnace struggled to warm the house wherever pesky drafts pushed their way past paltry insulation. It's warmer upstairs where I sleep, and guilt seeps in with the cold, since my dad and his wheelchair are stuck downstairs, his donated bed from the Legion set up in the living room, where he watches his PBS. Today, a show about how Miami is sinking into the ocean. He sleeps in his clothes, a t-shirt, flannel shirt, wool jacket, knit cap with the flag and colors of Finland, where his father's family is from. I brought him another blanket when he went to bed, a heavy one. I pushed it to the side and folded it long ways so he could easily pull it to cover himself. He only had a knit throw my Aunt Carmen made him, crocheted squares, the green, purple, and orange colors of Girl Scout cookie boxes. As I settled upstairs into sleep, I heard him mutter over the baby monitor, left set up from when he first came home after breaking his hip and couldn't get up by himself. It feels wrong to still listen in on him like this. He kept repeating, "I don't get it, I don't get it." And downstairs, I found he'd struggled with the blanket. "It's heavy," he said, but he'd settled it just fine by himself. "I slept well," he says in the morning, but I didn't. Tossing in the bed my parents once shared, missing my husband's warmth, missing waking to my mother's laugh. I listened to the grumbles and creaks and bangs from ancient radiators, the shifting of the ancient bones of the rafters, the skittering shuffle of mice hiding in the old walls to avoid the killing cold. This is my last one. It's called "What Was It Like?" What was it like before it snowed and the fallen chestnut seed pods were still snow-covered mini marshmallows on the dark, melted, hot cocoa parking lot? Before I kicked the shine from the icicles on my car? Before gray hair and extra weight? Before taking off and putting on sweaters every hour? Before my heart asked for decaf, please? Before I could sleep until 9 and read until 10 or 11, when after dozing again, ingrained guilt finally wakes me, makes me clean, do laundry and last night's dishes before I can eat. Before an apartment instead of a house, before I worried about things like, where would we go in a tornado because no basement? Before I got used to the highway and train tracks and school bus depot sounds around our building, before they all grew up and moved away and the world was small, before the onion-striped warm cat stretched out on my lap and I had to pee but didn't want to insult him, before my knee and hip told me not to sit cross-legged anymore, before a constellation of lacy ice the color of cucumber slices kaleidoscoped across and covered the potted plant stains on our balcony, before we lived somewhere no one had lived before. I hardly remember what it was like before this life, before there was so much sky. Thank you.